you know that not every bad feeling is termed mental illness? My name is Jeremiah, and you can call me Jerry J, and you're welcome to the session 2 of our Braveheart Curriculum. And I have with me...
My name is Peace. So in chapter 1, we learned about mental health, the brain, how to set smart goals. And today it's time for chapter 2, and we'll be talking about the different types of mental disorders. So first of all, I think we should just talk about what mental disorder itself is before going to the types.
Yes.
Mental disorder is actually a change that happens with the way somebody think, the way they feel, or the way they behave.
Mental health disorder, to me, is also a change or a fluctuation. I'll call it a fluctuation in the emotions of a person due to the external circumstances that happens to them.
Yeah, another thing that it does not just pick people, it can happen to anybody.
Anyone, that's true.
So it's not like there are some particular type of people that actually have mental disorders. If you don't take proper care of your mental health, it can actually lead to mental disorder.
So the first common type of mental disorder that we have is depression. It's a feeling like you're losing interest in things that you once enjoy, and you're tired, sad, and nothing feels worth it over time.
Another type is bipolar disorder. One day you are feeling full of energy, talking fast, and feeling invisible. The next, you are trying to get out of bed. Actually feels very impossible.
I would say that the third type, which I will talk about, is often common: generalized anxiety. Anxiety of what will be, what will not be, anxiety of failure, anxiety for, will I experience breakup? Will I get this thing? Will I receive that acceptance letter? And all many things like that leads to the fluctuation, like I said, of our emotions.
I think anxiety is really, really common.
Very, very common.
So another type is panic disorder. There are sometimes that your heart will just suddenly pound. Like out of nowhere, your heart is pounding. You can't breathe, you can't feel, you feel like something terrible is happening, and for no reason. That sometimes this minute you are fine, the next minute it's like your heart is pounding. No, you don't have a particular reason. You can't tag it to any particular reason why that is happening, but you just feel like your heart is pounding.
I don't know if that has ever happened to me before, but I feel that it's often common to most people because of the unexpected nature of life. You get some people just experience this sudden feeling of, I am thinking of something bad, or something bad wants to happen, which necessarily might not happen. So it is very important that you know about this. So I will be going on to social anxiety. This is a panic about being judged by social settings and might be avoided by people altogether. Most people, because of the seclusion aspect of social media, most people don't go out, and anytime they go out, they feel that they are not accepted in society. People are going to judge them and all sorts. It leads to mental disorder, which you must know that believing in yourself is one way of breaking through all these things, which is very important.
So another one is schizophrenia, and there are times where you actually hear voices that others don't.
Hearing voices
that others don't, or believe things that are not actually real, and it is actually hard to know what is true.
And do you know that most time in Africa, people term that to be a spiritual attack or something like that? How are we going to differentiate between a spiritual attack, mostly in Africa, and the normal mental disorder? This is a question I think we are going to treat about. All right, so the final type of mental disorder that we have is substance use disorder. Another substance use disorder we have the alcohol use disorder, where there's a feeling or like needing drinks, needing drugs just to feel okay, and which is totally very wrong. You keep drinking and drinking even when it can cause problem and it is hard to stop. This alcohol disorder happens to so many people. After 5 bottles, they still want to take more till they lose consciousness of themselves. And another one is the drug addiction. A lot of people get addicted so much to drug because the first feeling of drug makes them happy unnecessarily and all, and they really think they can dwell on that to experience joy or to escape their problem, which I feel that is not really necessary.
Actually, not.
Because when you use the drug, the problem still
It's actually temporary. It gives you a temporary feeling. It gives you like an escape out of your reality. To be honest, when you use drug or when people get high on alcohol, you're escaping your problem for a little while. But then what happens afterwards when the whole thing fades off?
You come back to
problems are back. So it's not a long-term effect or anything.
Yeah, so it's very important.
Yeah.
I would rather pick smart goals, setting smart goals,
exactly, than turn into substance use.
Yeah, so that's why section 1 talks about setting smart goals. Go watch that; it's very important. All right, so we're going to the story of David, which tells us about David, a 17-year-old boy, loved and being around friends, trying new things. However, he began to experience extreme mood swings, barely slept, and made impulsive decisions, spending all his savings. And the following week, he felt like exhausting everything. He feels hopeless, he feels unmotivated and avoids schools and friends. And his parents noticed this change. They encouraged him to speak up for help. Although David hesitated, he eventually saw and spoke to a doctor who diagnosed him of bipolar disorder. Wow. Through this therapy and meditation, David learned to manage his mood swings. And started finding a balance between his highs and his lows. Slowly, he regained control of his life and returned to the things he once loved.
This story is deep. Like I said, at times this day you might be full of energy, the next day you're just feeling down, you're feeling uninterested about everything. So you can see the way his mood went from being 100 to being 0%. This story just actually shows us that recovery is actually possible. The right support. I think for me that's like the biggest takeaway from this story. Like when you get the right support, recovery is possible through the right support.
Good. Yeah, I think I would have to frame those words. Recovery is possible with the right support.
Yeah, with the right
support. All right, with this we're going to come to the end of section 2 of our Braveheart Curriculum. Watch out for section 3 and click the button below for section 3. Thank you so much. I am Jerry J once again, and
I remain peace.
I will finish by saying, be a Braveheart.
Bye.
Bye.